Hello, everyone, and welcome along to the latest This is the Music Meets podcast. If you're new to the podcast, then please hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any future episodes. And feel free to leave a comment and a like on the episode, as it really does help us beat those algorithms. So, for episode 92 and the first podcast of 2024, I'm delighted that rising solo star James Spencer, who at the time of recording this podcast is just hours away from releasing his brand new single, Batley Boys. As well as getting the lowdown on the new single, we're going to find out about how his set at Glastonbury went earlier on in the summer, and also as well his love for Bradford City Football Club. So James, it's a big welcome to you. Thanks very much for coming on to the This is the Music Meets podcast. How are you doing today?
But yeah, I'm good, mate. Thanks for having us on. I'm looking forward to chatting away.
Brilliant, great stuff. Well, as I say, thank you very much for coming on. And I guess as we are sort of still at that kind of like the time of the year, as you can see in the background there, I've still got me a little mini Christmas tree up over there. I haven't quite got around to getting that off yet. But how was Christmas? How was New Year for you?
Christmas was quiet. Christmas was quiet. It was a nice Christmas. Yeah, it was good to just chill out a little bit. Obviously, we've maybe still been in uni.
Yeah.
So I'm living in Bradford at the moment, but going to uni in Leeds every week. So it's nice not having to travel. It's like the whole traveling thing. Rush hour is the bane of my life. But no, it's nice not having to travel. It's nice just chilling out. Obviously, it's come out well, giving me some time to get ready for, Batley Boys. It gives me the opportunity to do stuff like this and get the promotion right, etc. So it's been a chill Christmas. It's been nice.
Brilliant, great stuff. And did you make any New Year's resolutions? And if you did, are they still going strong, or have they already been broken already?
Well, I can't really do any of the dry January stuff because my birthday's in January, so it all falls really awkwardly. And I play rugby, so obviously the drinking's all part of the rugby. It's all so at the moment. What my New Year's resolutions all come like after my birthday. So my birthday's the 30th of January. So on the Monday, so I think it's like the 15th of January. I'll start everything then. I'm not bothering just yet.
Brilliant, fair enough, and obviously big happy birthday for
Hopefully.
next week. So yeah, let's get straight into it then. We'll come on to sort of your musical background in a little bit later. But yeah, new single. We're about 11 hours or so away, as I say, at the time of recording the podcast. Batley Boys out at midnight. So how excited are you to have your first release of 2024 in the bag?
Very excited. I think it feels nice to get the first one out there, nice and early. But no, it's been a long time coming. Me, people who come to our gigs and stuff, kind of always have a laugh because we were playing Batley Boys, um, must last year, as in no, well, 2 years ago. We in the yeah, so in summer of 2022, we had a gig at a brilliant venue called the Underground in Bradford. Incredible venue. We went out afterwards, and the whole story is about we're going out into Bradford and we met two lads from Batley. And the story grew from there, and it was just a rough night out. Just the Bradford nightlife, really. And yeah, that's how the story kind of came about. I think I came home at about 2 in the morning, got on my guitar and kind of plucked some things, and woke up in the morning with a voice note and kind of went, "Oh, wow, that's actually seeming I can't remember it. It's quite good." So that's where that's come from. It grew from there. I took it to my drummer and my producer and bassist, and we all kind of like smashed our heads together and went, "Yeah, this is a really good tune." So we actually wrote it in 2022, and we kind of spent the year kind of gigging with it. But that was really good because it kind of gave us the opportunity to test new things with the song whilst playing it live. We got the idea of we want the song to have a really raw live feel to it in terms of, the biggest compliment we get about that song, especially from the people who heard it already heard it recorded, is when you hear it, it's very similar to when you hear it live, that kick when it comes
Right.
in. And that's kind of throughout how we've played that during the time we've obviously between since we wrote it and now, we've kind of learned that that's really the aim we need to get to this song. Kind of that punch you in the face.
Yeah, sure. And you've sort of said there that it sounds like it might have changed quite a lot. So has it changed quite a lot from that original sort of drunken voice note to the finished article that we're obviously all going to hear on or at midnight?
I think the to be fair, the structure of the song hasn't changed at all. I think we had an extra verse at the end, but to just give it that slight drop because it's quite a high song throughout the entire. So we
Yeah.
wanted that kind of drop at the end. But to be fair, the structure itself hasn't changed. It's just little interludes, little things like that, which we kind of dropping in, and it's kind of it's been done pretty much since I'd say October time.
Right.
But we wanted to kind of release it. Obviously, we don't want to release songs during Christmas because it'll get lost in Michael Bublé and all that stuff. So I'm not bothering releasing a song during Christmas. It's kind of my one rule. So we kind of waited. January, winter went, January, kind of let's kind of see where it can go.
Yeah, sure. I can't say that I blame you, to be perfectly
Yeah.
honest, for hanging back. But kind of like obviously as a solo artist, how do you find like the creative process of writing and recording your songs? I mean, obviously you've just mentioned there previously in your answer about on Batley Boys, obviously that you got your drummer involved in getting the pattern, the drum patterns, etc. for that. So kind of like then, how does it work? Is it kind of like a bit of a closed shop that once you've got the lyrics and you've got the melody written, that's pretty much how you want, you've got an idea in your head for the
Yeah.
drums already, or are you quite open to having, other people contributing ideas?
So we've got a really interesting story how me and the band kind of got together. So when I was 7, I started, as you do, your guitar
Yeah.
lessons, your drum lessons, and I met someone called John Pullen, who was my guitar and drum teacher. John lives about doors down that way,
Oh, wow.
and he's been in the music business for quite some time now. He ran his own business, going into schools, teaching,
Hmm.
etc. So I messaged him about 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I hadn't seen him in quite a while. I messaged him and said, "Look, hi mate, I'm writing my own music now, etc., etc. Is there any help you can give me?" That was 4 years ago now. And then he went, "I mate, I see you going. I know someone who might be able to help." So he's kind of come on and kind of took me under his wing.
Right.
Um, so he's my drummer, and also helps make the important decisions around the band. I've got Luke. He introduced me to Luke to start with. He has his own studio in his house. He's a brilliant producer. He just lives 2 minutes up the road. Um, our guitarist and also another producer, he was a student at Leeds University,
Hmm.
but they all play in a band at their church on a Sunday, North Church in Leeds.
Right.
So he knew that, and then all of a sudden we've now got this like four man band who kind of it's like a little family. So it's really easy. That being the case, it's really easy to have an idea and just put it on the WhatsApp group and say, "Look, boys, what do you think of this? This is an idea." Sometimes, for example, Batley Boys, our latest single, Carriers, kind of the ideas there, but things like little musical things, maybe, Billy's a brilliant guitar player, so for our last single, Carriers, I kind of took the idea in, he took it home and kind of made the guitar part, and we came back. So normally we have the melody, the structures pretty much doesn't change much.
Yeah.
I don't want to add anything in. But the band kind of help musically direct it to the right places. Um, so yeah, it's really nice having just such a tight knit group of people to work with.
Yeah, sure, okay, and kind of like then when you are writing, who or what inspires you, or is it not quite as straightforward as that?
It's a good question. I for all my life, I have done music. I've been into music. I went abroad for the first time last year to Budapest because most of the summers I spend the summers at music festivals. So my first music festival was Leeds Fest at 7.
Wow.
I was rocking out to Foo Fighters. David
Wow.
Taylor Hawkins at 7. There's a video of me head bashing to Offspring because they were sub headliners. So since then, it's just been music. I've been lucky enough to see some incredible,
Mm.
bands. So all that's been music festivals. So I think that's my inspiration. The inspiration is just the fact that my life from pretty much 7, my mum and dad taking me to go see Foo Fighters at Leeds Fest. From then on, it's just been music festival after music
Yeah,
festival throughout the
yeah.
summer. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love them.
Absolutely, I can't say I blame you, and a pretty good starting point really there. Offspring and Foo Fighters,
Oh
to
yeah,
be
yeah.
fair. So, one thing then I would like to sort of know about. Obviously, you've mentioned there, Carrius obviously being the previous single. You obviously put 3 singles out so far. Have you got like a particular favourite release at all? You know, one that might mean a little bit more to you. You know, there could be like a sort of sentimental value or anything like that.
They all have different like kind of values to it. So the first thing that's happened before that was quite important because it was the first stepping stone.
Yeah.
Like I think especially I was 16 at the time, and to have my first kind of song already out there on Spotify, um, it's still like one of my most. It's still, I think, out of the 3 of them, it was obviously Carriers was released last year, so that had the most hits last year. But it's happened before, really wasn't far behind. So it's happened before. I remember we released it on the 13th of January, so on my birthday of 2022, and then on the 15th we had my first ever proper gig. It was just me and my drummer at the time, and we did it. We hired a Saltaire called Saltaire Bar, a
Right.
little stage, bar on the side, and I walked up to it, and it was about gig started at 8 o'clock. It was about 20 to 8, and there was about 20 people in the room, and I thought, oh dear, this could be a quiet gig. By the time we
Yeah.
got to 8:05, we reckon we had 120 people in the room for my first gig.
Yeah.
So all my mates had come down, they brought their mates, family, friends, whatever. And it was a really good gig. And I think that gig, I think, can be underestimated because I think it was very important. Although it was my first gig and I was 16, it was very important then to get a good show going because you want people to have good first impressions. You need
Yeah.
people to come back to your gigs, and I think that's been the big standout point. We always say this: our live performance we feel is like really strong. You know, we headlined the Underground um, in October and February of last year twice. And the February one, we sold the most tickets for an unsigned artist since before COVID from that venue.
Wow.
So
Wow. Fantastic.
that was a big kind of plus for us. And then
Mm.
we had about 200 or more people in the room, which was really important for us.
Yeah.
And it was a good experience. I think it's all the experiences have helped to the live shows, confidence. I used to get nerves. Yeah, I used to brick it standing. But now, I think because of that experience, I think like the nerves have kind of just edged away, and the more gigs you
Yeah.
do, they kind of edge away. So it's really the live experiences have been really important for me.
Yeah. And well, and I guess as well, you're just saying there you've gone from, 120 tickets sold to over 200 there as well. I mean, again, that's obviously what you want to see happening, more and more people, word of
Yeah.
mouth type of thing and all of that, and getting more and more people down to the shows, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's talks at the moment. Obviously, we got a gig on Friday, but we don't really have any gigs booked after that. So it's really we've got an idea for. We're gonna do a gig, really local gig even if it's in like a conservative club or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't care. A stage, a PA, a really local gig, make it a really big deal in our local area,
Yeah.
and try kind of just tick that area box off the list now. I think that would be a big box to tick in terms of just let's have one last big gig really local to celebrate Batley Boys. So we're hoping to do that next month. So that is a one maybe that might be happening.
Brilliant, great stuff. And sort of obviously sounds like you're going to be, wanting to go sort of further afield, after that particular gig that you're talking about, sort of hopefully next month.
Yeah.
But I mean, you kind of have already gone further afield.
Yes.
Let's talk about that then. So, first of all, Glastonbury
Oh man.
2023. Um, how did that come about? And what was your experience like?
So I myself and the drummer, obviously I was telling you my drummer's in the music industry, and he has a
Yeah,
friend. He has a friend who runs a tent. Um, at Glastonbury, and he allows kids to come in or adults.
Yeah.
There's Roland instruments all across this tent. It's a big tent, so you got drums, keyboards, synths, guitars,
Yeah.
basses. So we were volunteering to help out down there. We got there on the Monday. We stayed Monday to Monday. So it's a long week at Glastonbury. It's by Sunday night I was nearly on death's doorstep. I couldn't talk. My legs. I think I was recording like 30,000 steps a day. I was
Wow.
done. Anyway, we'd got there, and the Thursday, they have an area at Glastonbury for all the crew. So
Yeah.
just to give an example of how much crew there is, in the kids' field, it was something like 1,600 workers in
Wow.
that field alone. So that's just an example. So you can imagine, you've got to imagine there's 20,000 so work people
Yeah.
volunteering, whatever. Um, and we'd heard that they have their own stage, kind of in behind the acoustic stage, they have their own stage.
Right.
Um, and they said a band had dropped out on the Thursday night. And they were like, "Do you know anyone?" And me and my drummer kind of just looked at each other and just went, "Could we? Could we?" So yeah, that's how that came about. Literally 24 hours. It must have been 24 hours notice. A couple of the other people who were volunteering in the tent. One of them played bass, one of them played guitar, one of them played
Brilliant.
sax. So we had like
Yeah.
a 5-man band, 24 hours, kind of rehearsing quickly. Um, we couldn't plug anything in, so
Yeah.
we're trying to do this rehearsal. We've got a saxophone player kind of blaring out saxophone. It was just the most makeshift rehearsals, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. We got on stage, it was reasonably quiet, but by the end, the person who ran the stage said it was one of the best nights they've had. He's been doing it for 15, 16 years, and it's one of the best nights they've had. They said they must have had 700 in the tent, 750.
Wow.
Uh,
Amazing.
so that 24 hours was probably the craziest 24 hours of my music career yet. But I wouldn't have had it any other way. Like I said, Glastonbury, it's first time that was the first time I've been, and it's just, I don't think you can't really explain it until you go.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's the size of it is beyond, it's like a city. Like I said, I was recording 30,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
Just wandering around. But yeah, it was incredible. The people I got to see as well. There's no better stage for it. I mean, Elton John, the likes of Elton John and stuff like that. It was just, yeah, it was incredible.
Great stuff, and yeah, pretty sort of sounds pretty surreal as well. How
Yeah,
it obviously all came into place, but playing another iconic venue, but obviously slightly more local to you than Glastonbury. Obviously, you also played at the Cavern Club last year. So, is that a venue that you'd like to sort of revisit in the future? And
yeah.
how was it? Was that a full band set as well, or was that just an acoustic set?
That was just an acoustic. That was just a acoustic set. So my dad's a Scouser. We go to Liverpool every year. I love Liverpool. I think it's one of the best cities.
Yeah,
And
it is
the,
great.
the nightlife's incredible. The music scene, it's all just a really nice space. So it was. It was it was the day before my birthday last year. I was in Liverpool I was trying out the uni.
Right.
It was always between Leeds and Liverpool where I wanted to go, but I ended up just staying at home. I thought it'd be so much easier than spending however much money on accommodation a year. But no, kind of one of those right place, right time moments again. I seem to have got quite lucky this year, the last couple of years. I've just been at the right place, right time. Walked down to Cavern Club, and there was someone playing. And this guy was kind of like running the stage, and I kind of said, "Look, I have a guitar. Can I play?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, go for it."
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I did some of my own tracks and some covers. It was just a really nice, really, really nice evening.
Yeah. Sure. And kind of like as well. Then would you get in a good reaction to the original songs? Obviously, kind of like not maybe being obviously that established in Liverpool at the minute.
No, yeah, it's been really good. That's kind of the joys of having. Something I've learned over the live experiences is when you're playing a set predominantly of covers and then you throw in a few originals.
Hmm.
If you don't say this is an original, we've had so at the start, if I was to play an original, I'd say at the start of the gig, this is an original, and people are just already kind of lost a little bit because people don't know the song. So if it's
Yeah,
an original, people kind of clock off, go get a drink, whatever. But I've now learned, don't say it's an original. People won't know any better. You know, they'll stay around, and that's the sign. If people are cheering afterwards and clapping, and they've stayed around, and then afterwards you can say this is an original.
yeah,
For me, that one of those live experiences, that's kind of a better way of kind of approaching it now. But no,
yeah.
they've all been really good experiences. They've had really good reviews. Especially I did Batley Boys on acoustic, which was something different, but yet again, kind of that a bit more chilled out. It was really good.
Yeah, sure. And sort of sticking with the sort of acoustic kind of like unplugged type scene scenario. You obviously got your first gig of 2024 tomorrow night, obviously Friday the 4th of January, at the Queen's Arms in Horsforth. But as I say, I believe that is obviously an acoustic set as well.
Yeah.
So kind of like then how much is that going to differ from the set that you did at Glastonbury? Is it going to be a little bit more similar to what you played at the Cavern Club, or sort of a combination of the two?
Yeah, give it a combination of the two, I think. We've thrown in quite a few new songs. So my drummer's gonna come, he's gonna bring a kick, snare, and a harp, and we've got a bassist. And we're just gonna kind of just chill. Even if we do the normal tracks we do it, we'll just take it down a little bit.
Mhm.
But we're gonna throw in some more originals, some more some more covers that we don't normally do, and just kind of find that balance. Got to read the room to try and find what level you need to be at.
Yeah, sure. And I guess to sort of when I guess to feed each track as well into the set as well, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's only it's quite a small venue. It's only small. Basically it's in Horsforth. That's where I play rugby.
Right.
So we know that it's a regular for me. So kind of we just got chatting. And he was like, do you want to play a little bit of a gig?" But we're expecting it because it's small. We're expecting it to be quite a busy gig.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Well, fingers crossed, and hopefully it goes really, really well. But obviously we've sort of got a little idea of what's been going on over the last sort of couple of years, and clearly it's been a really exciting and obviously a very busy time. And I say everything, you know, upward curve. Obviously, we're talking about the increase in the gigs and all of that sort of stuff. But what I'd sort of quite like to do now is sort of like go back almost to like pretty much the very beginning. I know you touched on it a little bit, but kind of like you've obviously mentioned the Foo Fighters and Offspring as being sort of early memories and stuff like that. Are they still inspiring you now, or have you moved on as you've sort of jumped further into finding out, you know, about music and you know how's that work for you now?
Yeah, I think I've always had a very big music taste from a little kid. I think I remember my granddad listening to Beatles with me, and that I must have been 4 or 5 when that were happening. David Grohl is obviously still a massive influence for me.
Yeah,
I think his work is incredible. I think it's probably my favourite gig at Glastonbury was seeing all the churn ups,
yeah, yeah,
all the Foo Fighters, and seeing Josh Freese for the first time drumming. It was really cool. But no, I think as I've moved on, seen more bands live, obviously the influences have got more. Currently, I look at the likes of Sam Fender, obviously like cliche, but I think he's what he's done the last couple of years has been
yeah.
incredible. Cortinas, I think their St Jude's albums just
Oh,
out of this world.
class. Yeah,
For the likes of them and Rex Orange County, I remember watching them at Glastonbury on the telly in 2019, and his music's very. It's the melodies and the lyrics are very interesting. He's very good, Alex from Rex Orange County. He's very impressive.
yeah, and kind of like then for sort of people that maybe haven't heard of you yet,
Yeah.
James, how would you describe your sound? Is it still drawing in? Obviously, you've mentioned there's some very, very good artists there in that little bit that you just mentioned. Are they, is that the sort of sound that you were aiming for, or is it completely different?
I think it's the mix between it's the mix between the first couple of songs were you know, reasonably like ballad. Well, the first one was definitely a more
Yeah,
ballad type song.
yeah, yeah.
Like I said, my music taste so kind of varied
Mm,
that sometimes I'd sit on the piano next to me and write. a ballad, and then the next minute I'd turn around to my guitar and write a indie track like Batley Boys. So at the moment, kind of finding that sound
Hmm.
somewhere sitting in between the Sam Fender and the Rexine County, can we create a sound where both them merge into one is kind of the aim. But being from Bradford, you kind of it's all about I think it's all about the kind of just that rawness and
Yeah.
the whole kind of underdog area kind of thing.
Sure, okay. It certainly sounds like it's going to be quite an exciting, what's the word? I'm trying to think of like uh, like an adventure. It's not probably called
Yeah.
the quite word, but in trying to find that sound
Mm.
and trying to merge the two artists there that obviously you mentioned. So one of the things also when I was doing my research for this, I found out that you are a Bradford City supporter.
Yeah.
So kind of like obviously you mentioned that your dad is a Scouser. So kind of like were you born into being a Bradford City supporter, or was it a choice, and
I was
why not one of the
honestly, mate. So my mum's side of the family are all Leeds fans.
right?
So honestly, it's awful. So my dad cheering for Liverpool,
Yeah,
mum cheering for Leeds, and then I kind of getting roped into wearing Leeds shirts and going to Elland Road and watching Leeds.
yeah.
I look at the photos now and I'm like, oh no. I think it must have been 2000, 2012. I
Right.
must have been 7. Kind of went up to Bradford City one night just to go watch a game. Like my dad took me, and it was the season where they kind of got to the playoff final and won. Got to the League Cup, beating Arsenal and Aston Villa and Wigan.
Yeah, yeah,
We were all Premier League teams at the time. I remember it was only one of my fifth or sixth games at City, sitting there and they were reading the Arsenal team sheet out and it had the likes of Fabianski, Aaron Ramsey, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Javinho, and I was me and my dad, my dad kind of turned to me and said, I hope you don't have high expectations for this because all of them had played international football at a level and yeah, just that penalty shootout beating Arsenal kind of just got me roped in. And from then, it's well, life as a Bradford fan. Don't I've had the greatest times. I was lucky enough to be there at Chelsea when we won 4-2.
yeah.
Uh, it was 8 hours we waited for those tickets. It was like January the 3rd or something. We waited for those.
Wow, but well
No,
worth
yeah,
it.
yeah. But no, since then it's gone downhill a little bit. Anyway, the less said currently, the better.
Well, obviously that kind of like in a way brings me on to sort of this season because obviously you're currently 13th in the table, just 5 points off of those playoff places. Sacking Mark Hughes, I mean, it's probably a surprise actually that he went there in the first place, but
Yeah.
certainly sacking him and bringing in Graham Alexander seems to have been a really good move for the club.
No, I think it's the right decision. I think they've done really well. I think Graham Alexander is a really good manager. I think the problem Mark Hughes had was, his experience is beyond this level, but
Mm.
sometimes at this level you need the experience.
Yeah,
Uh, the squad just wasn't. I didn't have any shape, and Graham Alexander's going to come in. The form's been good. I think we were on eight games undefeated. I think we lost at the weekend to Crewe. But it's been. I think he knows what he's doing at this level, which is what City need. We're a club that needs someone who knows this level.
yeah, definitely. And I guess as well get back into, get promoted and sort of be more of a, maybe of a level maybe that Bradford actually should be at rather
Yeah,
than, in where they are at a minute. But what one of the things that I'm sort of quite intrigued to sort of find out as well is that here at This Is the Music, as you know, that we like to try and shine a light on unsigned bands and sort of solo artists that are trying to make their way
yeah.
on the indie scene. So kind of like over the past 12 months or so, what bands or artists have really caught your eye?
Oh, good question. Um, so for someone who I think is a bit absolutely massive, obviously I've seen what the K's have been doing recently.
Yeah,
I think they're
class
gonna they're
band.
gonna they're gonna
Yeah,
blow up. Dylan John Thomas from
yeah,
Scotland. I know he's recently just done his tour. I think he's gonna be really big. But yeah, and the likes of obviously I was at Why Not Festival 2021, 22, and I ended up just walking into the tent, and on the sign was the Raytons. This tent
yeah.
was like rammed packed, and I'd never heard of them
Right.
before then. And then they came on and everyone just went mental. And me and my mate were kind of stood there like, I actually don't know who these are, what is going on. And then they started playing, they were incredible. And since then, they've kind of blown up. I think they play in Clifton Park this year, aren't they? And
Yeah,
doing their gig there. So he's going to be big. But yeah, for me, the K's, Dylan John Thomas, and the Raytons are probably the ones who I'm kind of looking at the moment.
yeah, sure. Three fantastic artists, and certainly their bands and a solo artist, obviously that we definitely love here at This Is the Music. So I'm now going to just sort of throw some sort of quick fire-ish questions at you now. So the first one is, what is the one item that you couldn't live without?
Oh, good question. I would go with probably my guitar.
Yeah.
Like as easy as it is, I think I could probably, you can, if you, I think my dad always said, if you can play an instrument, you can find some way of making money. It's kind of what he said in the way of, even if it's busking or anything. So for my one thing I can't live without, I'll probably have to move a guitar.
It sounds like your dad's a very wise man.
Wise man.
And if you could have any band or artist watch you from the crowd at your next gig, who would it be?
Oh, it'd probably have to be Foo Fighters. Just see like David Grohl, and obviously I love to like kind of just have a chat with him and see. I think he's one of the best songwriters around. I think he's just incredible.
Yeah, sure. No, agree. He's top man. What would be your dream venue to play a gig at? And I'm not letting you have Glastonbury because you've already you've already played it.
I've got to go for. I've got to go for. I look at what Sam Fender's done at St James's Park, and I've just got to go Valley Parade. I'd love to just imagine. I can just imagine like having a stage set up, and playing at Valley Parade. Sorry, it'll just be. Honestly, it'd be really cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can imagine what the feeling, what that must be like to go and play at
Oh,
your team's home ground.
incredible, incredible.
So, kind of like then, what other plans have you got in store for 2024?
Yeah, so obviously Batley Boys is out. Well, probably is out now.
Yeah.
Um,
By the time we
uh,
drop this, yeah.
We've got a really cool tune called Half the Man that we're going to release this year. We've just started working on it now. Probably musically, for me personally, it's probably the best, like musically, the best song I've wrote in terms of kind of structure and melody. It's quite interesting. It's not your full indie. It's quite a chill song, but we're kind of looking at what directions we can take that in at the moment. And yeah, just kind of building this year's gonna be. I think this year's gonna be kind of building up a bit of a song bank. A lot more songwriting than we normally do. I think the aim is, how can we look towards kind of supporting bands as a sport act. Kind of building a really good, strong original set to be able to go out and do that. So hopefully that's the plan for this year.
Brilliant, great stuff. Well, it certainly sounds on both fronts in terms of releasing music and obviously
Yeah.
developing and continuing to push yourself live as well. It sounds like you've got a busy year and quite an exciting year
Yeah.
lined up. And most certainly, from my own perspective, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for that, because absolutely love the last single, and obviously you've been very kind as well to let me hear Batley Boys as well. And I'm looking forward to giving that a little spin on the radio tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing what else is coming. It's, as I say, it sounds very exciting. But James, that is the end of the This Is the Music Meets podcast. Thanks very much for joining me for episode number 92. It has been an absolute blast, and I've really enjoyed actually getting to find out a little bit more about you and your musical sort of journey so far. But just before I do let you go, can you let the This Is the Music listeners know not the podcast, that's what we're on now, the social media platforms that you are on?
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's just James Spencer Official. I kind of post all my updates and stuff on that. I am James_Spence on TikTok. There's a load of covers, acoustic covers of me just kind of playing around and seeing what sounds nice. But yeah, Instagram and TikTok are kind of the main one I use. It's James Spencer on YouTube. All the songs are on there. Obviously, James Spencer on Spotify and iTunes, and Apple Music and Amazon and all those. all that jazz.
And we would include the links to your social media platforms in the episode bio. And of course, remember to go and stream Batley Boys, or maybe download it if you can, because that is released on Friday, the 5th of January. So it is a fantastic song. And yeah, James, as I say, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you.
Absolute blast. And I wish you massive success with the single, and of course your gig as well that you got coming up too.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And all that leaves me to say is to thank everyone for listening to the latest This Is The Music Meets podcast. Please subscribe so you never miss out on any future episodes. And if you're loving the podcast, show us some love by leaving us a 5-star rating and written review, as it really does help the artists we interview to be discovered. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you somewhere down the road.